The 30th. Okay.
Oh God, the music already.
Mm-hmm. Something bad happened. Okay, so it is the next day. The 30th is... Okay. Zach isn't dead yet, but he's going to be because he's now in jail.
Oh, and Rebecca.
And Rebecca's gonna die, yeah, because... Okay. Ashton received a phone call from the chief first thing in the morning. Yep. Yep, we saw her in her Ram PJs. Went to Zach's. We got our files. We're like, oh, your dad's dead. Be a strong person. We freak out in the elevator of the parking ramp as we escape with our lives. Okay, so what's happening today? So right, Zach goes into the mansion. Rebecca learns about freed slaves and burning witches. And then she dies. So that's all we know of today. So there's quite a bit that we don't know about yet. Okay. Darkness blurs the edges of my vision. Black tendrils twist and coil around my limbs. Soft footfalls echo far from the distance, scurrying, scampering, moving in an odd rhythm with the sharp, piercing notes of her laughter.
That's not what she sounded like.
I can't do her. A screaming threatens to burst, but my throat closes off ever slowly. A chill seeps into every nerve in my body, washing away every sensation in me, apart from one.
Terror.
There is only fear.
Dang it.
That was close enough. Once again, her laughter echoes. The sound, both bitter and unforgiving. It is the last thing I hear before she reaches for me. The ground trembles. The world slows to a stop. Oh.
Well, yeah. Why would they split up after, like, dying?
Fair enough. Morning breaks in a blurry mess of vivid shapes and colors.
It looks messier than I remember, but I feel like it's not.
Haven't been in here in a while, so I can't say. There's pictures of Rebecca over the bed make me sad.
She's not dead yet.
Well, she's going to be.
I'm not dead yet.
I'm not dead yet. Well, he's almost dead. Can't you just take him? I'm actually feeling a bit better. Oddly, there's no feeling of terror or confusion gripping me, despite the vague images that has driven me from sleep. Awareness kicks in shortly, though slow and sluggish, as I blink away the last remnants of unconsciousness from my eyes. The early morning light already streams from open windows when the memory sets in and the room finally comes into focus. Isabella's apartment. Pushing myself upright, my eyes wander idly toward her prone form. She's hunched over the coffee table, both her arms under her head while she continues to rest. Then to the chaos of papers and folders we left scattered over it before sleep has claimed both of us. We've bunkered down here last night. After both our nerves have calmed down, mine for the most part, staying together was an unspoken invitation.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I'm pretty sure neither of us wants to remain alone when there's that woman. Is she still one in the first place? One that we'd normally call a human. Can I still feel guilt? Can it still feel guilt? Does it understand pain?
Fuck.
Ooh.
I'd rather get for meddling than mess with whatever that thing was any day.
Not that thinking about this still matters when all our lives are in her hands. She's dangerous. If we don't do anything about her and this curse, we'll definitely be pushing daisies soon. I can't let that happen. I've dallied on this long enough, left all my friends in harm's way after the warnings they've all given me. Besides, beneath the terror and adrenaline that keeps me running, knowing what lies ahead for Isabella makes it hard not to take action. The paper sitting on the edge of of the table calls my attention at this light against my hand when I reach for it. It has caught my eye the night before, but with the lot we still need to go through, I've simply ignored it. The logo emblazoned on the top of the page, however, provides this paper a whole new meaning. Not for me, but definitely for her.
A scholarship grant, huh?
Dear M.A. M.A.
You sure it's not Miss?
It could be M.S. Ms. Isabella Grace C. Santos.
The Office of Admissions.
And,
Finances?
well, there's an L at the end of that.
Financial?
I don't know.
The paper.
And it's...
that
well,
you have been...
I can read congratulations.
Is it
on
1,000 or 9,000? 3,000? 4,000?
I see 5,000.
Okay. Scholarship each year of undergraduate study.
The something of this scholarship
Is contingent upon your something.
I see classes of the something for the end of that line. Financial help application.
And
A is just in your advance. I don't know. I read congratulations as the beginning of the next paragraph.
yeah. Congratulations on your
Spectacular accomplishments.
yeah.
And University of Luxburn. Something scholarship.
I think it says business scholarship.
Could be. I mean, I thought you wanted to do art.
Right, but that's not what she was there for, was it?
Oh, if we look up here, Office of Admissions and Financial Aid, so the first words is financial aid.
There we go. We, something, you, something, a something, all through your something years.
Undergraduate years at University of Luxburn.
What does that say?
What?
Thanking you?
I don't know. I mean, it says yours sincerely, Frankie Burton. So we just read that.
I don't know why.
A scholarship grant, huh? I've only ever heard her talk about this once or twice, completing her degree, that is. She rarely goes about it in great detail, preferring to keep it to herself. Perhaps it's a fact that she thinks she's already too old to be chasing after it. It's been 5 years after all, but I've caught enough snippets of conversation between her and Zach to know she's never given up on it. And despite how things have panned out with her father, she's one step closer to this part of her life. As silly as this may sound, coming from a friend, I'd like to give her a chance to have this. Whether this means stepping out of my comfort zone and figuring out what the deal is with this curse is, I'll do so. If only to see the same smile on her from that time again. These days, the only moments she seems to show it is when she's asleep, like right now, no matter how uncomfortable she appears. Smile of my own forms despite this, when I glance at her sleeping form again. It's 5 o'clock. She hasn't moved since, her shoulders rising and falling in a slow, even rhythm with her breathing. You won't think she has any problems this way.
If only that were true.
Sighing, I place the paper back where I've gotten it. Carefully, so I won't accidentally wrinkle or damage it in some way, and finally push myself off my makeshift bed. Why the makeshift bed? Why not the real one?
I think they both just fell asleep over the papers.
Isabella shifts when I carry her off from the floor over to her bed, but doesn't wake. Simply tucks herself comfortably under the covers. I pull over her. Briefly, though, she mumbles something to herself and draws in another deep breath.
Becca, Ashton's being dumb again.
She drifts back to a deeper state of sleep after, like it hasn't been interrupted by the slightest movements earlier. But the small smile on her lips remain. One I find myself returning in kind.
Who sleeps like a rock now?
It's better this way. Better to leave her to her dreams for the moment, which I hope are better than the ones I've had. She'll have time to worry about her problems later when she wakes up. For now, this will be another thing I don't want to take away from her, a moment of respite, no matter how fleeting. She deserves it, after everything she's been through, what I've put her through. In the meantime, I still have 2 other people I need to check with. Isabella will definitely get in a tizzy if I don't check on them.
At least leave a note. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Maybe he's just stepping out to make phone calls. Cold Luxburn air meets me upon stepping out the hallway. Not unusual in itself, this is what Luxburn's weather is supposed to be. A bit cold, damp for the most part, and more often than not terribly drab with an occasional sprinkling of rain every few hours. The sky's still clear, but I'll give it a day or two before the weather takes a turn for the worse. I've complained about the awful rains for years, despite having lived here my entire life. I have to admit, though, seeing it return to its usual feels extremely reassuring. At least something's still normal in the world, when I can no longer think the same for the situation we're in. A nightmare. That's probably all this is. Usually I'll say, I've been through worse, but that's simply another lie I often told myself, isn't it? And I've fed myself a great deal of lies through the years, just so I won't have to think about it the next day. Maybe we won't even have this problem. We won't even have this problem if I haven't been running away and ignoring this, hiding them someplace no one will see, because I've since believed doing so is a show of weakness.
The fuck do I know about ghosts, though?
What does Zach? What does Becca? Z-Man has mentioned dreaming about a woman. Whether it's the same one we've been seeing, I've yet to ask. Bottom line, he likely knows as much about this as I do. Hell, Rebecca's probably in the same boat, grasping for anything that might provide an answer, a way out of this. What can any of us do when all of us lacks any understanding of what's happening? One thing's clear about this, however. That thing is after us because of the letter. Both Rebecca and Zach have seen it too. She'll go after them as well. Yet here I am, walking up to Becca's door, one slow step at a time. A stalling tactic to allow myself some time to put the mess in my head in a better order. How to phrase this? When there's a 90% chance you're still pissed about the whole different matter. It's the only reason we didn't check in on her last night, aside from the ungodly hour Isabella and I arrived. We'll only alarm her by showing up in her home in the middle of the night, acting like babbling lunatics, and her anger can last quite a while. These days, it seems the only one she can easily forgive is Isabella, but even with her, Rebecca's fuming still takes hours. I run my hand through my hair and straighten out my jacket before knocking. Once, twice, and 3 times, just to be sure she heard me, even if she's asleep. She's usually awake by now, though.
Hey, Becca, it's Ash. Open up. Don't tell me you're still in bed.
She's not home. Seconds tick by. No answer from her, and dread has started to creep up. I've been trained to handle dire situations, but the feeling has been doing that quite frequently since last night. My mind begins to anticipate the worst, and the next minute concern is mixed in with my thoughts, and I bang my fist on the door, louder this time. She'll definitely be livid, but I'd rather face her wrath than a dead body.
Becca, it's Ash.
Oh, there we go.
There's something we need to talk about right away. Open up. I know you're...
Your girlfriend left early this morning, pretty boy. So if you could do us a bloody favor and shut up, that'd be real fucking polite.
My hand pauses, short of landing another heavy knock. From the other unit, Rebecca's neighbor peeks in through his door, though I see nothing but a bundle of blankets. I'll say they need help being devoured by their sheets, but it sounds like he's just fine. He's a huge asshole, too. Course of action so people like him won't ruin your day. Act like the nicest person on the planet. Has done me wonders when I was a rookie patrolling the streets. No need to match his temper.
Oh, did she say where she was going?
I don't know. She said something about meeting someone or something, in case Filipina girl over there asks. Well, what am I, her keeper? You know some people want to sleep in on a bloody Sunday, so keep it down. was looking forward to this weekend. Thanks, you damn git!
Well, there's no need to be an ass about it. I'll get out of your...
He slams his door without warning, but not before muttering a string of very colorful words about me. Probably thinks I won't hear him inside four walls of his apartment.
Jerk.
And at the end of it, a sigh. So Rebecca, not here. I must have missed her by an hour or so, but at least she's not alone. She should be safe, in theory. More so if the person she's meeting is who I am thinking. Nevertheless, I still can't help but worry. It's an easy thing continuing down increasingly darker lines of thought. To act brashly, to find out where she is and go straight there without deliberating on my actions first. There's Zach to boot. Rebecca's not alone, but I can't say the same for the big guy. A simple phone call to both of them should do the trick. It leaves my nerves at any rate. It's better than rushing over to Zach's place or assuming Rebecca's whereabouts and finding out they're not where I've guessed they should be. Assuming the worst will come next, which I'd rather avoid this early. Any other reason I won't bother them, but an emergency begs for urgency. This is one, right? Even if it isn't anxiety that dulls from concern dulls my... Even if it isn't, anxiety from concern dulls judgment, something I most certainly can't afford to lose at any given time, especially right now. Any means to calm it will do wonders for the muddled mess my mind is already in. Pulling up my phone, I thumb through the screen until it ends up on the group with only Zach and Rebecca's and Isabella's numbers listed first. What did I say wrong?
No, but the picture for Abigail is terrifying because it's not an actual... It's like the little...
Oh.
But there's like a little smiley. Like normally it's just...
And it's just
the negative space or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's kind of creepy.
Like I've drawn a weird face. Mm-hmm. Like how others is Professor Clark, Chief, and then it's Abigail.
Yeah, what order are those in?
Mm-hmm. Other people will probably say I keep too few friends when they chance on this. To some extent, it's true. I can easily name about 100 people I've acquainted with through the years, colleagues, blockmates from uni, neighbors, those sort of people. They all come and go. But these three have chosen to stay for some reason, without wanting or asking for anything. Unlike the others, none has Zach's kindness, Rebecca's patience, nor the sincerity in Isabella's eyes. One day, these guys are just three. The next thing I know, being with them eases it. What did I just read?
These guys are just there.
These guys are just there. Yeah.
They're just free.
Oh, gosh. That heavy, somber feeling lingers in the air when you stand alone in your apartment, or something as simple as spending your day off without anyone. I'll say it's loneliness, but this carries much more depth than that. If I can't help it, I don't want to lose any of them to some stupid curse. A phone call may be the least comforting thing at the moment. Honestly, I prefer being in the same room with him right now, but I'll take what I can get. Becca first. She'll get angry at me for worrying about her. She isn't some helpless damsel in distress after all. She isn't the shy little girl I knew when we were children. We're already far from the people we were back then, but it's more than enough reason to check in on her. I don't have to imagine her taking anything head on. She'll do it instead of asking for help when she needs it. I don't care if she gets mad at me, if only to know she's fine. A ring in the silence of the hallway. Its sounds alone might be sharp enough to pierce through my ears. Another second passes. 2. 3. But when, on the 9th ring, it goes straight to her voicemail, a cold feeling instantly lodges in my stomach.
Rebecca Gales here. You've reached my voicemail. Sorry if I can't get to you right now. Oh, and if this is Isabella, yes, you're free to reheat the food in my fridge. Otherwise, leave a message.
Probably just busy, that's all. Though I still barely manage to keep my voice even when I speak.
Hey, Becca, call me back when you're free. We need to talk. ASAP.
Becca will be alright. Is alright. She's safe. she's with someone else. In the event that woman shows up, she'll have someone with her. Someone she'll be able to ask for help. She's safe. She can handle herself. Becca might have a fiery temper, but she knows when she's faced with something she can't handle herself. Becca will see any missed call, and she'll call me back. Though I don't express it enough, Rebecca is someone I consider important to me.
Oh.
She's been my friend for the longest. Anybody else would have been fed up with me and left. The girl stuck by me no matter how big of a jerk I've been. There's Zach and Isabella now too, of course. I'll always be thankful for having them around. The worst times before, however, Becca was there. No one believes it when I say it, but I've surely had my awful moments as a bratty kid and as a horrible teen. Issues, I've too many of them to count and refuse to deal with for a time. At least, that's what Andrew likes to tell me. I tend to think nothing of it. It has mellowed down over the years, thanks to the professor mostly. But at times, I do wonder if it still burdens me the way it did all those years ago. After all, I was terrible, especially around the time of my parents' separation. Looking back at it now, I had no reason to direct all my frustrations toward everyone else. While I wasn't a kid who lashed out at anyone, preferring to keep it to myself and turning those negative feelings into more productive things, I've grown distant from a lot of people because of it. From my old friends back in my old school and the neighbors I've hung out with before moving. A habit I've likely brought with me into adulthood. I was just so angry with everyone and everything. All I kept thinking about was myself, wondering why me. In retrospect, I was a little selfish, a little bastard who thought the world revolved around me. That I shouldn't have been going through it. I believed my behavior was entitled, that I had the right. Tough times, but she stuck with me, snapped me out of my little sulk, as she often phrases it, whenever she sees the chance to bring it up. She didn't tolerate my bullshit, but she didn't leave me alone either. If anything, the whole thing made her stick around. Her concern may have grown a bit overbearing as the years went by, but she's still an old friend nevertheless. I owe her a lot. That won't change.
Damn it. Where are you, Becca?
I was hoping he was going to explain what happened in that image. But
Nope. Another message left on her voicemail. Then, my third call, I hang up. For the time being, I can't do anything more than wait for her to return my calls. Worrying aimlessly won't get me anywhere. Zachary, on the other hand, is in jail.
not yet.
Or he will be. He will be. He'll be. That guy attracts trouble no matter how much he tries to avoid it. Doesn't help how he hasn't been too hot lately with a lot of people. His mention of plans yesterday doesn't sit too well with me either. He might be the next responsible adult after Rebecca out of the four of us, but I've still got to check on the big guy. Make sure he's doing okay at the very least, whatever he has planned on doing. All I'm asking is for it not to be idiotic. He's a sensible guy, I'm sure. However, desperation clings and pushes people to do things, rational or irrational, it doesn't matter. Clear thinking flies out the window the moment you're in danger, and I sincerely hope he has not found himself in a tricky situation. His phone doesn't even ring before he answers, or his voicemail at least.
Hey, it's Zach. Well, a voicemail anyway. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So, just leave a message, yeah? And no, Ash, you're not allowed to lockpick your way into my apartment again. Just do what any other decent human being does and call if I'm not around. Thanks.
So unprofessional. Him and Rebecca. Like, I get it's supposed to be funny, but like, if he has like prospective clients or someone like calling him and they're like, "What the heck?"
Does he better have another phone number for business?
I hope so.
That he doesn't give Ash, because yeah, that was actually exactly what I was thinking. Like, Hopefully clients don't call you at that number.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
What was the other option besides climbing in the window for...
Keep searching for Zach on there. Keep searching for Ash on the
outside
mansion premises.
Okay.
Which obviously, we knew then he obviously wasn't there. And he obviously isn't there. So I don't know what would happen if we kept searching. Obviously, we wouldn't have had Zach knocked out by Johannes and thrown into a jail cell and die by the ghost, but I'm curious what would have happened then.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember.
Did he turn it off? Why? I don't want to assume the worst yet. Maybe he's forgotten to charge it? Can't be. The guy can be a bit of a Boy Scout, even more than I am as a cop. He's the type who has an extra battery or power bank in his bag if he ever needs it. And he always does. He won't say anything or brag about it, but he's got quite a roster of VIP freelance clients. He won't just leave his phone dead in case he's on the field, particularly when people will be likely looking for him. He always leaves his connection open whenever clients or his friends need him. Zach is reliable like that.
Why isn't anyone answering?
His mobile is in and out of range area sounds more plausible, although the thought of it doesn't completely shake off the unease. Unlike Rebecca and I, he took the time to listen to what Isabella said. And even if he didn't believe it, he was definitely the first one to offer help or try to do something. If he ends up trouble doing whatever it is, so help me, I'm going to... Well, I can't be rash, I'm aware of that. Been running the same reminder in my head since last night. But if something happens, I am certain my reaction won't be pretty.
Yo, Zach, call me back, alright? I wanted to check in and, yeah, just please call me back.
It's usually a joke between us when I say he's the Watson to my Sherlock. I don't see him as some assistant to put aside until he's needed, like some people like to believe, though. He's not some pity friend I keep around to make myself look good.
If anything, he's the one who stayed by me out of pity.
Zach's the one who puts up with me most of the time, even when he doesn't need to. It's not a case of cool cop who helped out a minority. Okay, I had trouble reading for some reason. This white text needs like black outline or something.
I'm sure that's the issue.
That's definitely the issue. In truth, I was hard-headed, hot-tempered, and a reckless rookie up until I met him. It wasn't anything sudden, and some part of me is still that rookie, but I've grown, thanks to him. He tempers that part of me. Considering how our first impressions went, I'm lucky he's still around. He stuck around. Becca and I may have spent a lot of years together as children, but Zach, he's probably the closest thing I'll call to a best friend, though it's more than that. A camaraderie. There we go. Okay, a camaraderie.
A camaraderie?
Yeah, that's just a camaraderie no words can express. He has my back and I'll always have his. He's a brother I've never had the luck of ever having.
I never knew it was spelled like that. I thought it was going to be closer to comrade.
Yeah, I thought it would have been C-O-M.
Maybe this is a British spelling?
Could be.
I'm not familiar.
Well, usually it's the American spellings that mess it up. You know?
Yeah, but
Like how we spell defense.
comrade is an American word. Like,
Comrade is an American word?
yeah. Russians don't call each other comrade. That's not a thing. That's just what Americans think Russians do.
Who are you, comrade? Questions?
What?
I don't know.
Sorry.
He has my back and I'll always have his. He's a brother I've never had the luck of ever having. Only child and all.
And I have every reason to worry about my brother.
Becca's neighbor did say she went out to meet with someone. No specific names. If I'm wrong and she's not with Professor Clark, then maybe it's with Zach. They've never been close, but it's not the kind of awkward friendship where meeting together remains out of the question. Regardless, I'll continue dialing for his phone another 3 times, like I've done with Becca's. In the end, the third attempt, with no one answering, I stopped to cut the call with a ragged exhale.
Waiting game it is then.
I've been trained for those. Hell, I'm used to them. Just not when it comes to people I'm close to. Much as I keep reminding myself to maintain a level head, it's a whole different matter when it's someone you know. Personal feelings will likely get involved at some point. It's starting now, actually, with the anxious string coiling and uncoiling, causing a racket inside my stomach. It annoys me that all I can do right now is grit my teeth and trudge back to Isabella's apartment. Useless. That's what I am in the face of this. A mad dash around Luxburn and Ansem isn't going to help things. It's not like I'll simply stumble across them on the side of the road during a drive. The city's too big a place for one person to go searching for only two people. I'll be lucky if I even glimpse the hair of either of them. One last frustrated glance toward the open skies, I slipped back into Isabella's apartment and slammed the door behind me. I might have already grown used to this, but the waiting will always be the hardest part.
The waiting is the hardest part.
More so when it's the people you care about.